Thank you, and thank you, Ori, and thank you, Bruce. Very kind words, really, thank you. What's with the hat? So Tommy's the crazy guy in the hat. I just wear it as my branding, so I'll be easy to find at the breaks. So come, you see somewhere, that has to be Tomi. Come talk to me. I am here to meet you. I don't know much about this industry. I really don't. The augmented reality side, really don't. I want to hear what you are doing. You might have questions about my industry, mobile. I'll be happy to help with that. And not just here. We might meet up, at JFK 2 years from now, at Changi, Singapore, at Heathrow in London at some point when you've made your first million and you're planning your first James Bond island with its, hollowed out volcano. Come talk to me and say, Tomi, we met back in Santa Clara in, I think, 2013, and, let's talk about what's happening in the industry. So that's with that. Okay, so let's, so honestly, I'm not an AR person at all. Augmented reality for me is purely a hobby, fascination, and interest. My business is, and what I've devoted my life to, is trying to understand mobile, cell phones, smartphones, Sprint and AT&T and Verizon and that whole world, understanding their world, how they make money, where are the services, where are the customers. It's been a lovely business for me. Mobile became the fastest growing trillion-dollar business of all time. It's the fastest growing giant business on the planet. Lots of wealthy people in the world that this industry has supported. And that brought me to AR about 4 years ago when the very first advertising campaigns started to use early augmented reality as a kind of a gimmick to draw some attention. About 3 years ago, we had the first mass market uses of augmented reality. Android enabled that layer, one of the first augmented reality browsers. And so that's when I started to monitor augmented reality as a media format for mobile. But recognize most of my work is totally, it's about ringing tones, and it's about, picture messages, and about, text messaging and international voice, roaming charges, and all kind of, Angry Birds, games and stuff like that. That's my regular job. I really don't know much about AR. But I've been very fascinated by it. Last year, I became convinced that AR will become a new mass medium. There are only 7 mass media today. And I became convinced last year that augmented reality will become the 8th mass medium. And that becomes very interesting because we can then take some lessons from the previous media and their transitions and then have at least some model to try to consider the future of AR. And in that way, to my fascination is very much about the numbers and the examples. So again, I am here to learn, and I'm going to take massive notes all through the event to try to increase my knowledge of what you guys are doing. But here are a couple of examples that I've found recently that I think are interesting developments of what is happening in... sorry. Let's look at the 7 mass media just to keep it clear. 7 mass media are, the oldest mass media is print, 500 years old. Recognize print includes books, newspapers, magazines, pamphlets, also includes billboards, also includes snail mail. So our junk mail, our original snail mail-based junk mail that came through our letterbox. That's a media. Postcards, playing cards, media in print. So it's not just books and newspapers, magazines. Those are different media formats for print. Then came the first new media over 100 years ago, recordings. The pop music industry, Lady Gaga and Rolling Stones and Jay-Z and everything, Rihanna and so forth. Cinema came about 100 years ago. Movie industry here just 300 miles south of here. 4th mass media, radio. 5th mass media, television. Anyone who has studied media at a university will have easily covered these. So they are very established. They have different business models. They have different competences. Obviously, you need sound competence in radio, which you don't need at a newspaper. You need lighting competence at cinema. that you don't need in radio. Television and cinema are similar but different, and so forth. Then came the two new media, internet and mobile. I was the first person to actually argue that these are different media. And early internet colleagues of mine said, Tomi, you're a totally crazy person, go back to Finland and retire. You don't understand the internet. The internet will just take over everything and mobile will become part of the internet. Ha ha. Well, today Google says, Google, the world's biggest internet company, says the future of the internet is mobile and you have to mobile optimize your websites. If Google says you have to mobile optimize your websites, it means there are two internets. Has to be. So, I was right. Now, but that was the first 7. Now how about the 8th, mass media? So people were asking me, okay, Tomi, if there are 7, will there be an 8th? I said, yes. What will be the 8th? I said, I don't know. I wish I knew. I'm not that bright. And that was one of the founders of Layer, Raimo van der Kleim, actually argued this on my blog and said that, Tomi, AR will become the 8th mass media. I said, no, it's a media format for mobile, but it's not a separate mass medium. But he convinced me, because originally the first concepts we had in AR as mass market solutions, they were consumed on a smartphone. But today, we can consume augmented reality on a tablet. Okay, then it's a little bit an argument, a debate on whether tablet is an ultra-portable computer that immobilizes you, which is what some people think about tablets. It's not really mobile because the service is not mobile. When you're using a tablet, you have to stop to use it, sit down, etc., use one hand and touch. But smartphones you can use single-handedly and walk around and drive around while texting and getting your car into an accident. Don't do that. Anyway, but apart from tablets, obviously, now we can be convinced with Google Glass. We can also do augmented reality on a PlayStation Portable, PSP. We can also do augmented reality through sound. And increasingly, there will be augmented reality platforms and devices that can do many other technical ways that don't require a mobile phone, don't require a smartphone. That argument convinced me that AR is different from just being a media format for mobile. Today, it is, yes, a media format for mobile, but it is also going to soon become its own media by itself. And then we should not be copying legacy media and trying to squeeze them into AR, just like we shouldn't be copying the internet and squeezing it onto the mobile phone, just like we weren't supposed to copy radio and squeeze radio onto television. Original radio concept was horrible. Original television concept completely unworkable today. So now, let me show you a few examples. We all can imagine the ones where we see, the location-based, tourist guides and things like that. But this was pretty cool. Disney, they haven't yet launched this, but they've patented this. They've now they provide augmented reality for birthday cakes. So your little 6-year-old princess can have, Cinderella come out of the cake, and she can have her little, magic wand and have sprinkles over the cake, and we can have, little Mickey Mouse come out and sing to your little Johnny 4-year-old that happy birthday, Johnny, and so forth. So a little bit older, then we'll have Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever jumping out of the cake. But I didn't see this coming. That we could take something as non-standard as a cake, which would always then be, baked. So I can understand that we can do a QR code, or we can, scan a physical page and augment that. But this surprised me. Then Australia, McDonald's, they've now done so that we don't need a QR code. We can recognize the different McDonald's packaging just because the packaging has been made that distinct. So they know the difference between a cheeseburger and a hamburger, and the difference between a Big Mac, and so forth. And just based on the packaging, then we get the effect of, where did the lettuce come from, and where did the cow, this was, our favorite cow, Bessie, which this is the farmer who killed him, and, and now you're eating Bessie. So, but I mean, that we can track where it came from. So, Then how about this in terms of image recognition? Some Americans think initially this is pretty creepy when we find this, but this is reality today. Today you can take a smartphone in Finland, see a pretty lady driving up in a BMW. I take a snapshot of her license plate. Moments later I get, registration information on my phone. If it's a girl's name, I'll send her a text message. If it's a boy's name, it's the husband's car, and I'm not going to mess with her. So anyway, but we have to have this information for accident purposes, for insurance anyway. So it's not that creepy as it initially sounds like, oh my God, stalkers and all kind of, but this information has to be kept anyway and has to be made available to the public anyway. This one also I loved, not just because I'm a single guy, but Wonderbra, I love the fact that they used a standard YouTube video with no video encoding to enable augmented reality. So we see the lady, the image on the left, full video, she's dressed like this, and she has like 4 different outfits. She says, okay, now I'm going out dancing, and this is what I'm wearing, and describes what kind of tricks Wonderbra is helping her look very sexy. Then she says, now I'm going for a job interview, and she has a very professional outfit and explains again what she has underneath. You want to see what she has underneath, get the Wonderbra app, and now when you're looking at the video, you see her in the underwear. Not naked, but, pretty sexy. Now, obviously, us men only study this for, augmented reality technical reasons. But how did they do it? They synchronized it to the sound. So you don't actually even have to aim your phone at the screen. You can aim it, at your radio, and you can see the, the underwear version of the girl telling the same story. So I think that's just a clever gimmick on the fact that we can take a standard YouTube video and we can add augmented reality to it, not thinking it visually but thinking through sound. I love that sound aspect of it. So, do we have any numbers? We are starting to get some. I'm really passionate and eager, and any of you who have any numbers you discover anywhere, please send them to me, put them on a tweet and send them over to me, send them to me via email, anything that we can publish, no secret numbers, but because I will want to spread them immediately. But we're starting to see a few. This one comes from France. So this is Direct Optic, which sells sunglasses and eyeglasses online. They've offered a virtual tester for eyeglasses and sunglasses with your camera phone through augmented reality, and you can do testing different sunglasses, what do you want, and see how they fit your face. Look at the numbers. People who try these glasses, they have a 41% higher conversion rate, meaning they make a purchase, than people who don't. And the ones who do, they spend 12.5% more money buying more expensive eyewear. In other words, using this, the online store makes 45% more revenue out of those people who are using the virtual tester. Obviously, they want eventually everyone to do this. How about this from England? Tesco, which is like Walmart, so it's the biggest supermarket in Britain. They have, of course, a consumer magazine for cooking advice with different recipes and the stories, ingredients, and typical food magazine for their shoppers. They've added augmented reality to it. So now they are reporting that this is after the first 3 months of use. They're getting as high as 60% response rates on some of their ads, and 15% across the whole augmented reality page collection. So we're starting to get some numbers on the usage. Then we have this one from Puerto Rico. I love this one. So they have men's rooms in discos, pubs, bars, clubs, which have these little QR codes. Take out your camera phone, click on the QR code, and look through the wall. Because all you ladies know what really happens, right? You go to the bathroom in pairs, so you know very well also what your girlfriends are doing. So obviously, when you go to the ladies' room, you close the door, and then you strip to your underwear and you have a party, right? Men think that's what happens. So that's what this is built on. This is the deodorant brand Axi Links. So they just, click here and see through the ladies' party, in the ladies' room. In reality, these are, of course, hilarious videos prepared by the deodorant brand. But look at the statistics. 23% of the men clicking on these videos, we are peeping Toms. Of course, we are interested in sexy ladies. Especially young men are. Okay, and then we have one of our poster children, the iButterfly, starting to release numbers. Hong Kong has hit 300,000 users of the iButterfly. They've also launched in Thailand. In their launch week, they hit 100,000. Thailand has a bigger population. They've also now launched in Singapore, in Philippines, and in Indonesia. They have like 10 more countries coming. 10 million butterflies delivered, 10 million iButterflies, virtual augmented reality butterflies, caught in Hong Kong in the first year. Across those 300,000 users, it means 33 coupons delivered per user per year. Almost 3 coupons per month. This is no longer just a blip, just an accident, just a brief, weird instance. This is actually early promise that this might be sustainable business. Then look at the part I've highlighted in red. Hong Kong total population is 7 million. So it's like the, essentially Bay Area, I think. So Hong Kong has the world's second highest smartphone penetration. So it's one of the most advanced markets in smartphones, like 2-3 years ahead of the United States in this. Out of the total smartphone population, 7% use the iButterfly. It's no longer a niche, early adopter, geeky market. It's on the cusp of becoming an early adopter mass market in Hong Kong. Incredible promise for what Bruce talked about. This might hit mass market. And then how about the Netherlands? Layer reported just now in May, they've reached 30 million cumulative downloads. They listed several countries. The most interesting country is the one where they launched first and where they have the most in terms of the national penetration rate, which is the Netherlands. In Netherlands, Europe's second highest penetration of smartphones, about 2 years ahead of the United States. Layer has 14%, 14% of total smartphone population which has downloaded the Layer app. Now, not everyone who has downloaded it necessarily uses it. Some of them may have downloaded it twice or 3 times to different different smartphones. But still, in terms of numbers, we are now definitely in the early adopter, in the early majority stage, no longer in the early adopter stage, in terms of augmented reality in the Netherlands. These are very promising, very strong numbers for the launch of this industry. Which brings me to this graph. You may have seen, I showed this last year when I started calculating this and giving, people were asking me, Tomi, can you give me some forecast? I am comparing, don't take a picture of this, you'll see the one where AR is added, then it'll be much more interesting. This is mobile media. Mobile media started in 1998. So in 1997, there was 0 mobile media paid revenues on the planet. The first downloaded paid mobile media content was the first ringing tone launched in Finland in 1998. That's the start of the mobile media industry. All the Angry Birds today and all of your advertising you see on your coupons on your phone and voting for television, American Idol, all of that, the start was 1998. Since that, this is the total number of consumers. We are past 2.5 billion consumers of mobile media today. There are 7 billion mobile phone accounts on the planet. 2.5 billion consume paid content on media. This is 2.5 times the size of smartphones on the planet, because many people consume media on feature phones and simpler devices. Now, I plotted against this graph, so this is where we were at 3 years. 3 years from launch, mobile media had 10 million human total worldwide audience. 10 million, 3 years from launch. How does augmented reality compare to this? So I plotted the launch of augmented reality from the first mass market launch, that was 2009, and counted, we are exactly at the same point. We have hit 3 years, we're at roughly 10 million audience globally, worldwide. And now comes the point of this graph and its predictive value. I am becoming increasingly convinced that this is realistic. We will hit 1 billion augmented reality audience by the year 2020. How big is 1 billion? Total worldwide newspaper circulation is 450 million today. Augmented reality, if I'm close to right, augmented reality will be twice as big 2020 in terms of an audience than total worldwide newspaper circulations today, which includes the paid newspapers and the free newspapers. Twice that. So, and when I originally launched this estimate last year, I said that I have a confidence of plus minus 50%. It could be anywhere from 500 million to 500 million to 1.5 billion. Now, because we've got some third year data, I'm ready to shrink my uncertainty in this and say plus minus 33%. So between 670 million users and 1.3 billion users. We are very close. When you're looking at 2020, whether we hit 1 billion year 2021 or year 2019, this industry will have 1 billion users, paying users, or advertising sponsored users, in less than 10 years from now. All of you in your jobs and what you're doing are going to witness this industry hitting 1 billion user level. So in that sense, welcome and cool, and I want to follow you guys, because I wish I was as young as you are and I could take part in this. Because wherever I speak to mobile audience, if you've ever seen any of my presentations, always at the end I have my little bit of inspiration. I say, please guys, you're developing for this industry, try to create magic for us. Magical experiences. And augmented reality is all about magic. You guys do awesome things. So, but let me show you my current favorite. This is from Tokyo University. Professor Michataka Hiroshi. He did a study using augmented reality goggles for dieting. If you magnify the size of the food that you eat, and you magnify the size by 50%, you eat 10% less, and you are totally satisfied that you are totally fulfilled. You lose your hunger. So it's completely, you don't feel any way cheated. You have eaten enough because of the crazy connection between eyes and our brain. Our eyes trick our brain. So I mean that wonderful, magical, beautiful things that we can already do today in the lab. I just can't wait to see what all you guys will do. I wish I was young enough, this is a young person's industry, and to really share it with you. But at least I will be reporting about it on my blog. So please follow me on my Twitter and my blog. That's what I have prepared for you. And I am here to learn, so I want to meet with you. Thank you.